list, and you never want to just identify one person, but there's one person that's on the call named Steve Hoteling, who is Northeastern alum, and he's a U.S. Marshal, works at the South Dakota office, and he and his wife and son came and spent a weekend with us in Kansas with our baseball team. They made the trip over. They are unbelievable fans. So thank you to Steve and his family for cheering on the Huskies. So the Huskies support is goes into the Midwest and into the heartland, and we are greatly appreciated for that. Here, obviously, to talk about Matthews Arena and Matthews and what it's meant to us, and as we move forward, the new opportunity for our new multi-purpose athletic facility. And I think we've all have our own wonderful stories of Matthews, what has meant to us. And for myself, I spent 45 years in the building, coming in as a freshman in 1981. And then obviously right up until this December, and have many wonderful moments there, both personally as well as family moments and memories. And we can all relate back to those and think back what the building has meant to us. But this is a unique opportunity for our university to chart a brand new course and to look at Northeastern and this new facility as a new beginning and what it's going to represent in terms of how it's going to bring all our communities together. Matthews is 115 years old. It was a one activity building, meaning it could only host one event in that building, whether it be basketball game, a hockey game, an intramural game, a university type of event. It was only one activity building. It was 115 years old. It didn't have the modern amenities that all new facilities had. It had charm, it had history, it was historic, but not, it was missing out on many of those amenities. I remember when I took this opportunity, took the job, and the president and Ken Henderson provided me this wonderful opportunity. The president said to me, Jim, what do we need to move athletics? And I said, Mr. President, three things: facilities, facilities, and facilities. He said, okay, I got it. And we started charting a course right then and there in the fall of late summer and fall of 2021 on how do we take Matthews at the time and maybe renovate it and go through an enhancement addition plus a renovation. And having gone through that level of activity for probably about 18 months, it came back to us that it wasn't feasible, that we should be looking at a brand new facility. And that's when the president, and solely the president, made the decision, obviously along with the board, to move forward a brand new facility that was going to meet our needs here at Northeastern. And then engaged our facility folks led by Carla and her team, and then the athletic folks, on how do we create a new opportunity on that site that could not only just house our athletic programs,
Hmm.
but much more greater than that, and be a community
Good.
builder and bringing people to this facility. And so we started down that timeline, I said, in 21. And then by the time we got to 2023, we were focused in on a new construction, a new building that was going to support many of the athletic initiatives, but it was going to support our club sports. It was going to support our intramural sports. It was going to provide opportunities for university events, convocations, academic college celebrations, opportunities for co-op fairs, university type of events that were going to take place in the new facility. And the new facility, as Carla's pointing up some of the photos, the new facility was just not going to be a one event facility. We were going to be able to host multiple events in the building. When you look at it, you can see the main entrance in the glass, and the front entrance is now located at the front at the corner of St. Paul and in Gainesborough Street. You're going to have recreational opportunities in there. You're going to have events in the main arena. You're going to have, there's a cage that sits on top of the arena that was 32,000 square foot in space, a little bit larger than the cage that sits on the corner of Huntington Avenue and Forsyth right now. That was going to be able to play host to intramural club sports, varsity sports. At the mezzanine level of of the cage. There was going to be rowing tanks with another room beside it for the for ergometers for our rowing programs, men's and women's rowing. And then on the other side of the cage was going to be the practice basketball facility for men's and women that will sit on top of the roof for men's and women's basketball with all the modern amenities that they need, which to be successful. At the ice level, you had all of the amenities for men's and women's ice hockey, along with their locker rooms, strength and conditioning areas, and all of that. You can see it on the arena level that will allow them to be successful and be able to recruit student athletes that were going to help Northeastern be successful. And the same thing with the basketball area. So as you can see on the roof part, you've got multi-purpose turf, you got basketball, mechanicals. When you look about coming in through the lobby, you have the rec court. There's plenty of recreational space in this new facility. As you know, Northeastern continues to expand. There is tremendous demand for our recreational and intramural programs. We have at the club level 64 club programs, which is probably the most in the country, and a very active and robust intramural and recreational program. Certainly, Marino Center, as we know it, is a wonderful home to those programs, but we need more space. And Ken Henderson, our chancellor, has challenges on how can we expand this facility that can meet all of our needs at the university, just not varsity sports, but club, intramural, and rec. And that's what we've done. There's two levels of recreational space, gyms and weight rooms for them. And then, as you can see, the arena itself. It will have all the modern day amenities inside the building for a wonderful fan experience. There will be plenty of concession space. There'll be plenty of bathroom space. There'll be plenty of premium opportunities for people to enjoy that level if they choose to do so. If you think of Matthews Arena now, when you come in that main lobby, in the main entrance, you've got lines kind of crisscrossing all over the place to the bathroom, to the concession stands, trying to get over to the other side of the building so they can go on, from a seating perspective and get to the balcony or the other to the visitor side of the bench. The arena, the new facility will be spread out with all those modern amenities, as I suggested, with premium space. And yes, we'll get back up with the modern day. We'll be serving, responsibly alcohol, beer, not alcohol, but beer in the building for the fan and entertainment and fan enjoyment. So plenty of excitement with the new building. The arena itself will have a dedicated space for our doghouse, for our student group, which is, as we know, second to none in college athletics. And they'll have their own space which to come and congregate and to continue new traditions in the new facility. So very excited about what the facility will be. And when we look at the facility, we look at it as not just an athletic facility, it's much greater than that. It's where all of our communities are going to come together. The communities of our students, of our faculty, of our staff. I see George Strush here right on my screen, so I know we have faculty right here. Hello, George. Our staff, our alums, our parents, our friends. City of Boston events will continue being in there that will help out with high school graduations. So this is a facility that's going to unite our campus. We think of what the Marino Center did for the university back in 1996. We look over to Columbus Avenue and we see EXP and ISIC and what that has done, along with our brand new dormitories over there to generate all excitement over on Columbus Avenue and the second part and that part of our campus. We now have on the east part of our campus with our East Village dormitories, and certainly now with this new facility, will reinvigorate this area and provide a lot more excitement and energy and traffic in that space. I look at it also long term, without going too far down our master plan, but long term as the first building to building out an athletic district. Down the road, there's opportunities down the road to continue enhancing in and around this new facility with more modern day amenities and facilities. So it's going to greatly enhance the east end of our campus. And this will be a rallying point for all of our constituencies It's exciting. It's something that under President Ayoun's leadership is tremendous that allows now our athletic programs to be very successful moving forward. As we know, college athletics has gone through a significant change. The landscape has changed dramatically over the last 4 or 5 years. Facilities are a big part of that. And certainly more than that now with NIL and revenue sharing, we're going to have to continue investing, but this project sends the message to our alumni, to our student athletes that we're recruiting, that we're investing in our student athletes, and that will be the first step as we continue investing in opportunities for NIL revenue sharing and providing for a quality student athlete experience that is second to none, that allows our teams to be very competitive. Um, I will stop there and then hand it over to my wonderful colleague, who will walk us through a little bit more of the building, and then we'll come back together, and then we'll provide some Q&A later than that. Carla,
Thank you, Jim. You called a little bit of an audible there, so I didn't want to skip ahead too far in the presentation. So I stayed
thank
here,
you.
but it'll give you an opportunity to circle back to those very specific areas that you talked about with the visuals for you. Hello, everybody. I am Carla Morelli. I've been at Northeastern for about 8 years, and at least six of which have been spent working on this project. So this is extremely near and dear to me. I live it and breathe it every single day, and I'm thrilled that it's finally become a real project. It has been a real labor of love getting it to this point. And it's been fascinating understanding how much this building has meant to so many different groups of people. I'm not an NU alum. I went to school down the street, but I did grow up in the area, and everybody I know that played hockey in this arena. And I know that people are very sentimental about it. And the design team and the Northeastern team took that charge and that mission very important. We took it to heart, and we wanted to try to replicate what the best of Matthews Arena was and bring it forward into the next century for modern athletic facilities. But we realized that a lot of people didn't know Matthews when it was its best. And so some of the things that we wanted to imbue in this new building are, modern energy and sustainability strategies. All of the mechanical equipment is on an upper level in this building. So we make sure that we're being resilient for sea level rise. It's an all electric building. There'll be 46 geo exchange wells, most of which we have already drilled, and a few of which we have left to do this summer. And the building will have a solar PV roof. It will harness all of the daylight through the skylights and through all of the fenestration in the building, and convert that to energy for the building. We're also starting with the geothermal wells we're putting on campus, a micro district. So this is the beginning of something that other buildings can connect to heat and cool their buildings with geothermal energy. So we're starting this off by putting the wells underneath this building. We have a green roof on this building. We're using rainwater, reusing rainwater, and the two certification programs that we're applying for. I think probably all of you have heard of LEED Platinum, LEED Gold, LEED Silver. The Institute for Living Futures has an even more stringent program, and it's called the Living Building Challenge. It's even more strict than LEED Platinum. And because this is a building for wellness and athletics and recreation, we thought that certification program was more appropriate for this type of building. And as far as we know, this building, an arena with a field house stacked on top of it, and recreation and other athletic facilities, is the only building of its type currently being built in the United States. So we've set some very lofty goals, and we aim to achieve them. It'll be the first living building core building on our campus. It'll be the first net zero carbon building on our campus as well. What's really beautiful about this building, I'm going to show you a lot of the renderings, is the qualities that it has at night. If you were walking by Matthews Arena at night in the past few years, you couldn't tell what was going on in the building. You couldn't see it, anything that was going on. And one of the beautiful qualities about the original building was that it was quite transparent. Over the years, different owners filled in the transparency with cement blocks, and that contributed to the weight of the building, but it also contributed to the lack of transparency. This building harkens back to that original feeling of making the activity within it very evident to everybody on the outside of the building. It acts as a beacon, pulls people towards the activity. And so this is a view from Gainsborough, corner of Gainsborough and St. Paul Street, the main entrance of the building, facing the Gainsborough garage, facing the interior of our campus. And you can see this is the main entrance. It's quite bright, it's quite light. There's another area down further down St. Paul where we have another entrance, and it's really trying to attract you to go towards that light and find out what's happening, what activity is going on. So we're excited about this building, and the inherent qualities of the architecture in all seasons, at all times of the day and night. And we know this building will be used at least 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, if not more than that. And certainly all times of the year, which we weren't able to do with Matthews Arena. Not only that, the building can be used simultaneously by different groups of people, where Matthews Arena could not. If we had an event, a game at Matthews, whether it's basketball or hockey, you could only have that game. In this building, the students can access all of the recreation space and the turf space, the rowing tanks, at the same time as a hockey game is going on, while at the same time the basketball team might be practicing on the uppermost level. So it's an extremely flexible building, and it offers the campus facilities that don't exist on campus today, which we're frankly very excited about. This shows you how lively the streetscape will be. There's a very deep overhang near the main entrance that will protect people from waiting out in the weather when they're queuing up to get inside the arena. There are two main entrances. This is the primary main entrance on the corner of Gainsborough and St. Paul Street. We have a beautiful streetscape planned with furnishings and street trees and city bikes. And this is a view from the opposite end of the building. So you would be standing on the corner of Mass Avenue and St. Paul Street looking down towards Gainsborough Garage. And we've taken a slice out of the building here, just cut a portal open so that you can see from being in the city, not being on campus technically, but on the edge of campus, you can see what's starting to happen in this building, day or night. So it gives you a glimpse and attempts to pull people in terms of their interest and their participation into the building. And what you can see there is a glimpse of the white arch that we are able to preserve, take apart, and very carefully put back together again in its original configuration, but this time it'll be inside the building where it will be protected. And that was one of the features that the Boston Landmarks Commission required for us in order to demolish the building. Because the two arches, are the only remaining vestiges of the original architecture of Matthews Arena from when it was built in the early 1900s. Everything else had been filled in, renovated, touched or altered to the point where the architecture was no longer considered significant. So we're very, very happy that we found the right masonry firm that specializes in preservation that has the skill to take this apart and put it back together again. And you'll actually be able to experience it when you're walking through the building. Whoops. Hang on just a second. There we go. This is a view of the arch at night. So we're still toying with the idea of trying to express maybe what the score of the game is somehow on some scoreboard or some display so that when you're outside the building, you can tell exactly what's going on inside the building when a goal's just been scored or a basket's just been scored. So you can see that it has very different qualities day to night. This is the student entrance. And this portal, this staircase, leads you through the arch. So you're much closer to the arch. You can engage with it much closer than you could now and walk right directly into the doghouse, which is a very special area of seating that we designed specifically for our students to really elevate and celebrate their already celebratory experience of all the games. And so this is part of harkening back to the old building, entering the building through the arches, going through that portal. And we're hoping that this experience will remind you of being in the original Matthews Arena. You're also from inside the building looking out towards the city. And you have beautiful views on the upper levels, certainly of the whole city, on the ground level of the south end. View along St. Paul Street, where we are dedicating a an exhibit of the civic history of the building. The building was home to many presidents making speeches, all kinds of athletic events, boxing matches, Golden Globe, Golden Glove matches. There were Olympians here. There were many political speeches here. And of course, the Celtics and the Bruins' first games played in this building before the original Boston Garden was built in 1924. So this exhibit is meant to recreate for people the lessons that the prior building offered the city so that that's not lost. And you can see that you'll be able to see directly into the arena from the street and see the activity that's going on. This is a view that no one can really have, except if you're an architect. You'd have to literally be on Huntington Avenue looking through the New England Conservatory to see this, but it gives you a sense of how long the building is and how the various volumes of the building are expressed differently from one another. The long, low piece is the arena. The one to the top left is the basketball practice area. The one that's recessed to the top right is the turf. And the one to the furthest right in the middle of the building is the more public recreation and meeting space facilities. So we're trying to express on the outside of the building the various volumes that make up the inside of the building. And it will be constructed of hand-laid brick. It's a manganese iron spot brick. It's got a sort of a blue-gray color to it, and it's got a sheen that really picks up sunlight. So it's very dynamic. It looks different in all kinds of light and all kinds of seasons, and the architects have done a beautiful job delineating the various volumes of the building with very intricate brick detailing. So it'll be quite something when it's done. Here's another view of the streetscape along St. Paul Street, looking back towards Mass Avenue. There's a view from the Mass Avenue T-stop, the Orange Line stop platform, as you're waiting for the train. Right now, you really can't see, you couldn't see Matthews previously, not much. You could only see really the roof. And now this building will rise in front of you, and it's quite transparent on the side as well. Pardon me, a lot of the activity taking place in the building, a lot of the students moving around and through the building, and it also allows a lot of daylight in on that side of the building. So when you're inside the building, the qualities will be very different, excuse me, than they have been in the past 70 years, let's just say. So Jim, I'm going to pass it back to you, and you could take folks through the specific spaces in the building.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
So as you can see, you're looking at the main entrance, glass doors that are at the corner of St. Paul in Games Row, and you're coming in, and you can see the stairs in the middle with the red lighting. Next slide there, Carla. Just on the other side, as you continue through the main lobby, on the other side of the stairs, there's a lobby as you go through. At the other end is the student recreation entrance. So if you can just slide the next slide there, Carla. There's the entrance to the student recreation area. As Carla mentioned earlier, they'll be able to go and access that staircase or elevators up to the second, third levels, as well as utilizing space that's up on for the rowing teams and also in the cage structure. So again, as Carla mentioned, you could have multiple events happening at the same time in the building, which is great, which is, a lot different than the older facility, Matthews Arena. Please, next slide. This is the arena in obviously a venue for an academic celebration. It's important to note that the student's journey at Northeastern will begin and end in this new facility. It will begin, their very first academic celebration will be convocation in the new facility, and then their last building that they'll be inside of will be again the new facility for their academic college celebration. So the beginning and the ending of their journey is in this new facility, and the hopes are that in that middle 4 or 5 years of time that they'll be utilizing the facility for club, for intramurals, for being a fan, coming out and supporting men's and women's hockey, men's and women's basketball, coming and supporting, whether it be being involved and engaged in academic fairs, co-op fairs on the arena floor for university type of events. Next slide, please. You're seeing the venue now in a basketball setting. Next slide. This gives a little more understanding of the facility. So again, obviously um, in a hockey venue, you can see the upper balcony, lower balcony. You can see the center ice hung scoreboard. You can see along the left and right hand side our we're going to be able to have graphics down those sides on up at just between obviously between the just above the lower concourse area, but the far end you can see where you can lightly make it out says the doghouse. That section of about 4+ hundred seats, that doesn't come all the way down to the glass like at the section closest to us at the board level behind the net. That will start probably a row 5 or 6. Below that, there is, and we're going to get to that, below that, there's an opportunity, premium space opportunity for our alumni. Here we go. Thank you to congregate. It'll be a premium space, higher, type of cocktail tables you call them along the glass and along the boards, and there'll be opportunities for food and beverage in that space. And then you can see it. This is a really good shot. You can see where the doghouse section, where the first row would begin going up. So there's some space, and yet the doghouse they want to be elevated, kind of. In their own way, looking down on behind the goaltender, and that's what they're going to be able to do in this space. So it's a unique feature to the facility, which is great. And then it goes all the way up as if it goes up to the upper concourse. Next slide, please. Again, just some recreational space. This is when you come in the front entrance, and you can see on the left-hand side how the gold boxes around it. This is above the main lobby. Next slide. And then this would be above the weight room where we have courts, multi-purpose event space for courts. You can have multiple games going on, as well as designed. Thank you very much. Designed to be able to be flexible space so we can have again, a university type of event up to about 250 people, sit down meal. In the back area, we've taken into consideration for warming areas and ovens and things like that. Electrically, we can manage it. So, and then you can see how the top in terms of the gold wood and the slats, it just creates a little bit more of an elevated feel and look. So again, as much flexibility, and we were charged with that by the president to address as many needs as we can. Majority of the time it's going to be in a recreational space because we want to provide that for our students, but at the same time, we have the flexibility to have a university event. Next slide, please. Keep going. This is now a on the upper concourse level, and this is the premium, the larger premium space. We don't call it a lounge. We don't call it the old varsity club. You're right now, it's a hospitality space where unique again, where you will have a bar set up there. You'll have food set up in there. And again, people can come, at a premium space, come and enjoy the space with family and friends and alums and whatnot. And along there, you'll have three sections that you can go into your seats at the upper concourse level, looking down onto the playing surface, and that they'll be part of the of this hospitality space. As well as you can see, there are chairs along with a rail for them to.
Whoops.
Just go back a little bit.
Sorry.
I'll
Yep,
go
there you
back.
go.
Yeah, there.
One
So
more.
that's another. There's one look, and then there's another look. The upper photo on the left-hand side just gives you a longer view of it. The photo on the bottom right, hospitality viewing suite, that's a separate. We have one private suite that can hold up, I think, to about 25, and that's at the end of the hospitality, separate from the main hospitality. This is a viewing suite. I think there might be another slide, Carla, after that. Actually not, but
Nope.
here's the, which is fine. This is the, up on the roof, the practice basketball courts for men's and women's basketball. You can see how that space is defined in the orange color. Uh, One court dedicated to each program. There's a hard partition wall that will come down in the middle and allows both programs to practice at the same time. And then around the perimeter of the courts are offices, locker rooms, strength and conditioning, athletic training. And there's one set of offices up in the mezzanine level that looks down on one of the courts to take advantage of all the space. This is going to be extremely helpful to our men's and women's basketball program, who can, have a dedicated practice facility, and then they'll have obviously all the enhanced amenities that they need, which to, for player development, coaches development, and then ultimately, being able to recruit the best quality student athletes as possible. If you think of where we are in Cabot Gym, without any air conditioning, three programs utilize that space: men's and women's basketball and in volleyball. The basketball programs are now going to have their own dedicated space to utilize whenever they want for shooting, which is so important to their needs, and one-on-one practices, player development, coaches development. So next slide. Turf, again, you can see how that represents the blue. In that turf, it's 2,000 square foot larger than what we currently have here in Cabot. So it'll be 32,000 square foot of space. You'll have some running lanes in there for sprinters. You'll also be able to do a full infield in there for baseball. There'll be a lot of netting that will drop down for different activities, and obviously for baseball. And it's going to be utilized an awful lot with those varsity programs,
Excuse
but
me.
also soccer and field hockey in the January, February, March, and then plenty of intramural, recreational and club sport opportunities in this space. So it gives us more space now which to work with, along with what we have in our current cage at Cabot. Next slide, please. This is a unique feature in that most rowing tanks are down below, on the, in a basement level. We couldn't fit that in this space. This is on the sixth level, sixth floor. It's a mezzanine that you would look down into the cage, and you got two 8-person rowing tanks. And then on the other side of those rowing tanks, there's a separate room. There are the ergometers in there for training. So really neat for our rowing programs who have had to deal with poor space down below in the basement. Well, since I've been here, it's over 45 years. So this is state of the art with views outside and views into the cage area. Next slide. And I think we're back to into a timeline there.
We are. Yeah, what you want me to take the milestone schedule?
Please, please.
Sure. So as Jim said, 310,000 square feet on 4 levels. We call it 4 levels, but as you can tell from the sections we showed earlier, they're much taller floor to floor than a normal level. Um, It'll be an all electric fossil-free building. We did start deconstruction in the middle of December after the last couple of home games. We took as much out of the building as we possibly could salvage. We gave things away. We donated baskets to Madison Park High School, for example. We have a group called Collect You who has taken a lot of the salvaged materials, including banners and seats and bricks from around the arch, and they are holding a fundraising campaign throughout the entire construction period of the building. So there were the first initial sales were towards the beginning of the project in December. I guess maybe the lead up to it, November, December, January of this year, and they will be dropping new items that they're creating as we go through the construction schedule. So after we took out of the building as much as we could possibly salvage, thereby not having to send as much as we needed into landfills, we started the demolition phase. You probably saw a little bit of that on the news. It was covered quite extensively, and we had a little bit of abatement to do. We finished that up in March, and we are now. Here's an image of some of the things that we did. Took the locker rooms apart and redistributed a lot of the things in the building to some of the temporary locations that we have sent our athletic teams to for the duration of the construction. So we tried to reuse as much as humanly possible as we could, and be very careful to preserve any items that are archival. Here's a few great shots of our efforts to take the arch down. You can see all the sections of the arch. They were very carefully removed, numbered, and packed, and they're being stored for the duration of the construction to be reassembled as it originally was built inside the arena in before the conclusion of the construction. And here's a current shot of what it looks like now. Let's see, what do we have going on here? We've got some steel on the far left. You've got some steel piles being driven for the foundation of the tower crane. The way we're building this building is from St. Patolph Street. Well, I should say, from the MBTA tracks, which you can see to the far right, back towards St. Patolph Street. And the only place we could place a crane where it would not follow the MBTA tracks is on St. Patolph Street. So the tower crane will be along St. Patolph Street, and they're driving the steel piles for the foundation of that crane now. And we've also got some stockpiles of soil, moving things around and getting ready for mass excavation, which is the next step. Let me go back up to the milestone schedule. Whoops. Foundations, which are the next step after you see the tower crane foundation go in, will be happening this summer after the mass excavation is complete. Through the fall, we plan to start coming out of the ground with structural steel by the end of this year through spring of next year. The entire hand-laid brick facade will start to be mobilized mid next year, this time next year. It's exciting to think about. And that will take almost a year. And then the building will become weather tight, a very important milestone in August of 27. And so once that happens, we plan to run multiple crews to expedite the schedule as much as we possibly can and bring the building completion in on time for fall of 2028. Exact date to be determined right now, but we are determined to meet our goal of a 2.5 seasons out of the arena, and that would be complete in and around September, October of 2028. And that is it.
Thank you both so much. This is so fascinating to me, and I'm really glad that I didn't have the job of taking down the arch because that made my heart skip a beat a little. I don't know about anyone else. We do have some questions in the chat. Will alums have access to these facilities, and is there an indoor track?
There is no indoor track. Alums will have, that's still to be determined in terms of alums being able to have access to the space. Right now, the current demand of our student population is, with more students coming to Boston, is significant, and this is going to help provide some relief from Reno. Alums have the ability, I think, to buy passes to Marino and some of our facilities right now. So that's something we'll look at in time. But it does not have an indoor track.
Okay, what is the seating capacity for hockey and basketball?
It is just over 4,000 for men's ice hockey, and we did that with some intentionality to try and drive a demand. And the old building, Matthews Arena, was about 4,400 seats. These seats are going to be a lot more. It's obviously going to be quality. There's not going to be as many obstructed views as in the old building. So 4,000 seats and trying to drive demand. On basketball, it'll be more because you can have floor seats and you're up around 5,200 seats in that space.
Okay. Are the men's basketball and women's basketball practice courts going to be off limits or available to students outside of dedicated practice times?
No, they're dedicated to men's and women's basketball. This will allow those two programs to be able to to shoot whenever they want to shoot. When kids have the ability to have no classes and some free time, they can go into the courts and shoot and have some one-on-one session with coaches. Currently, our two basketball programs don't have that ability an awful lot because of the three programs in Cabot right now, as well as later on in the evening, you've got intramurals and recreation in there. So it'll just be dedicated to each of the two programs.
And
Okay.
the recreation courts are at the other end of the building.
Correct.
So students, staff who want to just shoot around can be using the recreation courts at the other end of the building while the basketball teams are practicing in their dedicated practice courts at the same time.
Okay, this is a good segue. What is the envision usage split for the turf between varsity club and intramural sports?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
What is the envisioned usage split for the turf between varsity club and intramural sports?
I always love these types of questions, and I know record it, so I'm gonna be able to stay right in the middle here on this, so my words can't come back to hurt me or the institution. I think anything we do with our athletic facilities, as we know, we don't have the athletic facilities the amount that some of our peers do, and we're very intentional to make sure we provide experiences for all three of our athletic programs: varsity, club, intramural slash rec. And I think we do a good job of that right now in terms of dividing the times and the space out. Whether it be in Cabot, whether it be in the cage, certainly as we know, the space over in Carter Playground, the both the field and when we bubble it up, that's only for intramural and recreational club use. Varsity sports cannot use that space, nor can varsity sports utilize the Marino space. So those will continue to be dedicated to club, intramural, and rec. And then to sit here at this point, not knowing all the needs of what the increased needs might be. It's too early to determine what that percentage would be, but we're very intentional and mindful of making sure we provide those quality experiences for all three sectors and sections of our varsity. I always say we have many student athletes. We have varsity student athletes, we have club student athletes, and we have recreational student athletes, and we're intentional to make sure we can provide the quality experience to all three groups.
Great. How does the new practice turf facilities affect the future of Cabot? Are there renovations or retrofitting planned for the court there? Is women's basketball going to play full-time in the new arena? It's a lot of questions.
A lot of questions there. So, give me the first one again, Kate, about the turf.
How does the new practice slash turf facilities affect the future of Cabot? Are there renovation or retrofitting plan for the court there?
You know, and I'll start off and maybe Carla can add on. I think the university and our facilities and, our facilities group, which is called PREF, um, do a tremendous job in working with the university leadership and identifying opportunities around the institution. As Cabot sits at a major intersection. I call it waterfront property, oceanfront property. Marino Center is oceanfront. We obviously have Whitehall, which has come down, right? And there'll be an opportunity somewhere down the road there. This represents oceanfront property. So at some point, the university will make a decision on this building. It's an aging building already. It was built in 1955, so it's aging. And most university athletic facilities are never in the middle of your campus. When this building was built in 55, it was at the end of our campus. The end of our campus, the perimeter of our campus is over by where the new rink is, right? Where the garage is and all that, right? So right now, the new facility, the cage will allow us to have more multiple opportunities for our students. Before I kick it to Carla on that, with regards to men's and women's basketball, those are things we're going to look at. Men's basketball has played in the arena. Will continue to move into the new facility because of attendance wise, and we're looking at women's basketball, see what those opportunities can look like for them to play some of their games at the new facility. We also have to be mindful of scheduling. Men's and women's hockey are there, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Men's basketball plays Thursdays and Saturdays. Women's basketball plays Fridays and Sundays. So we can't move our hockey teams off of our campus. We do have a cabin where we can play some basketball games. So we've got to obviously manage all those schedules at the same time, but mindful of creating opportunities for women's basketball. Also, Carla, I'll kick it to you on anything you might want to add on the.
Sure. You mentioned earlier, Jim, the idea of a sports precinct, I think is what you said.
District,
And
quite same thing.
the
Yeah.
institutional master plan, 2023 master plan for the university actually is built around this cornerstone of the new arena being built at the far eastern end of our campus, and really trying to consolidate most of the athletic, recreational, and intramural uses at sort of that end of campus. I would include Marino at that end of campus as well, but eventually it calls for a redevelopment of the Gainsborough garage site, perhaps with Cullinane, into a fairly mixed use athletic and recreation building. And what that would do is consolidate a lot of the sports and recreation uses to the eastern end of the campus. It also frees up, Jim calls it waterfront property. We call it the 100% location. That site on the corner of Forsyth and Huntington Avenue, where Cabot is located now, and it's a very large site, is very valuable real estate. And we don't have a lot of free real estate on our campus. So it'll be a phased approach where we try to relocate the sports facilities, and then we create a development parcel for academic purposes down the line.
I can't see everyone, but if we have $100 million donor on the call, we can actually accelerate this whole process. So feel free to reach out to Kate, myself, and I'm sure the president would love to accelerate this whole process. So thank you.
You heard it here.
Carla.
Thanks. Thanks, Jim. A couple questions on parking. Will there be any new parking? Is the Gainsborough Street garage that you just mentioned, Carla, the only area with parking nearby?
So, on game days, that's a good question, and one that I think most people who come to a lot of games at Matthews have taken advantage of this opportunity. So we lost some parking spots, obviously, at the arena that were on the perimeter, but those parking spots on game days were dedicated, to game day operations folks, the visiting team, buses, and all of that. So Gainsborough Garage will still be available for parking. As well as we offer free parking over at when I said I meant Gainsborough Garage, but we offer free parking over in the Columbus Street garage 2 hours before a game and an hour after the game. People can come on in, park for free, walk over the footbridge and walk along the footbridge. There's a lot of foot traffic that comes down for every game. It's a 10-minute walk to from the garage. If that, it's probably 8-minute walk from the garage, and it's free parking. So you can take advantage of it. From those coming from the south, it's actually even easier, and it provides preventing plenty of opportunities. Certainly, folks that are used to going to the Garden or Fenway or Gillette have to walk a lot further than 8 to 10 minutes to get to their venue. So there are plenty of opportunities for parking.
Great. We love that. Where can people find updates, and are there any plans to follow the construction live? A couple questions on that.
Yeah, that's
We're
something that I think we're all working on, and I'll defer to Carla from between, I think, alumni, alumni athletics, and then pref. It's something that we're mindful of beginning soon. But Carla, I'll kick it to you.
You said it, Jim. We're going to be hosting a page on the Pref website, which gives you a lot of the facts that we spoke about here, but access to the construction camera that shows static images of the construction on a day-by-day basis, and we'll have milestone updates, whatever new information we can come up with so that we can share it with the alumni and the campus community. It's just not up yet, but that's the intention.
Fantastic. We definitely want to utilize that. So we look forward to hearing more about that. David, are there architectural or electrical drawings available for review? It's a Carla question, I think.
I'm almost afraid to ask why.
That's coming from New York. I know where that one's coming from. So just tread lightly, Carla.
Yes. No, I don't think they're publicly available for view. I think the more readily available for view are the elevations and the floor plans and that we've showed you today. But I'm happy to answer questions on the side if somebody has questions about systems or things like that. We don't typically post those on any of our projects. We keep those within facilities. I see a question about the scoreboard. I neglected to mention that one of the most important parts of the arena are in a recent investment. The large scoreboard that was just built a few years ago, we were able to salvage one of the end panels of that, and we are going to reassemble it and assemble it in the
Cabot.
Solomon Court
Yep.
basketball space, so that particular space can take advantage of some more updated technology. And I also wanted to say that one way to think about the new building is that it's sort of a tension reliever on Cabot, because we're creating this new space. When this new building is opened, it means that there will be fewer sports, fewer groups competing for the space in Cabot. And so it allows many more groups to be practicing at the same time across campus than are able to now due to space constraints.
So thank you for bringing that up, Carla, and I was going to mention that. So the relief and great comment. The relief that we're going to get in Cabot will dramatically help and assist our club and intramural programs, providing them more space whether it be in the Cabot cage, but certainly in the gym. You just think we got a dance and cheerleading teams. We got teams that need some height and space. So there'll be the main tenant from a varsity perspective of Cabot the Cabot gym will be our volleyball team, because the two basketball teams will be practicing every day down at the new facility. So, and it opens up other opportunities for other club and intramural recreational sports. So there's a lot of relief, and same thing in our weight room downstairs and things like that. So thank you, Carla, for mentioning that.
Sure.
Hey, we're coming up on 2 o'clock. I want to just really thank you, Jim and Carla, for this great presentation today. And thanks to all of you guys who joined. Please feel free to follow us on social media and on the alumni website for more updates as they become available. Hope to have more programming around this project as the next 2 years unfold. So thank you all for coming. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone, for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you.